Hi, I'm your nostalgia chick. I remember it because the dudes don't. And I, like most of the world, am an American. And what's more American than sanitizing your own history to the point where it's no longer recognizable? Puppies! But sanitizing your own history comes a close second, and there are none better equipped to do that than the Walt Disney Company. Did you ever wonder what constitutes a blue corn moon? Or ever wonder who the hell would assume that a bobcat is grinning? Or think to ask why he did so? Or just outright like to deny centuries of oppression and genocide? Then have we got a movie for you. In 1995, Pocahontas was the latest big deal to come out of the Disney Renaissance, and it was a big deal, at least in the eyes of Jeffrey Katzenberg, head of the animation department, and convinced that this one was going to get them an Oscar nomination like Beauty and the Beast did. Sure. This movie is particularly special to Disney as it was the first proclaimed to be based on any sort of history, though we have to take that word pretty lightly. The movie starts in England, where we are first introduced to our male lead, played by famed anti-Semite Mel Gibson. John Smith, or as his crewmates know him, Captain Amazing, is a man so potent he has to get onto the boat while riding a giant phallic symbol. Now, as you've probably heard a million times, the myth as we know it probably didn't happen, at least as per John Smith's historical accounts. For one thing, he failed to mention them until many, many years after they were supposed to have happened. And needless to say, he was a short, portly brownhead, not the golden-haired Adonis that we see before us in the movie. Also, Pocahontas was 12. After a rather long introduction on the English side of things, the very first thing that John Smith does is jump off the boat to rescue a drowning Christian Bale from the raging tempest outside. Man, that John Smith is awesome. It's like the historical John Smith wrote the screenplay. So with little effort, he saves the drowning Christian Bale, and the crew fritters around on the deck for a few hours, talking and speculating on what the new world might hold for them.
I've seen hundreds of new worlds, Thomas. What could possibly be different about this one?
I don't know, maybe that's where the opening credits are. Oh, 7 minutes into the movie. And this is a Disney movie, so that's like 10% of the movie. Meanwhile, on the Virginian side of things, we found the Powhatan tribe, makers of smoke bunnies. Chief Powhatan has come back from some nondescript war of some kind and wonders where his daughter is.
Where is my daughter?
I don't know, Russell means. She's probably standing atop her favorite 500-foot cliff, while fluorescent leaves swirl all around her body. Damn! Pocahontas, who is an expert at posing dramatically, seems to have no real ethnicity of which to speak. She doesn't look particularly Native American, mostly she just looks like kind of an A-ethnic mush of unparalleled hotness. And this can probably be attributed to the fact that her design was based on the looks of models such as Naomi Campbell, Christy Turlington, Barbie, and Janice from the Muppets. So Pocahontas, to the chagrin of her best friend, dives off the 500-foot cliff, somehow survives the fall, as does the raccoon and the hummingbird. Pocahontas? And they proceed to do things that girls do when they're alone, like splash, giggle, have pillow fights, talk about boys.
Oh, he's so handsome.
Girlfriend. Powhatan wants her to marry the Olympian-sculpted perfection of Cocoam, but Pocahontas' free spirit rejects.
But he's so serious.
Come on, Poke, he's at least as adept at posing as you are.
Your mother wore this for our wedding.
Now, if you're wondering where her mother is, remember, this is a Disney movie, and Disney movies usually have puppies! Pocahontas needs advice on what to do, so where does she go? She goes to her, matronly willow tree.
Good morning, child.
Yeah. Meanwhile, nothing says villainy quite like little red bows on your pigtails. Ratcliffe serves to teach us that concerning the strife between the natives and the whites, none of it came from opposing belief systems or systematic genocide or ethnocentric legislation. No, all of our problems come from one guy being a greedy douchebag. And what does he want?
Let's not forget what the Spanish found when they came to the New World.
Puppies?
Gold. Mountains.
Ratcliffe has the ill-informed belief that Virginia is full of gold. He also takes the term digging for gold a little too literally.
Break out the shovels. It's time to start digging.
Guess he didn't research how gold is generally discovered. Here's a hint. It generally doesn't involve digging. The film also suffers from multiple sidekick-itis. Everyone has a sidekick. Presumably to cut into the painful dullness of our mains. John Smith gets a young Christian Bale and some goofy Scottish sailors. Pocahontas has not one but three if you include her friend with a kicky little midriff.
Well, you're a strange-looking fellow.
It's almost like we haven't been exploring this continent for the last 100 years or so. Governor Ratcliffe gets also not one, but two. A little pug named Percy, and this guy.
Do you think we'll meet some savages?
If we do, we shall be sure to give them a proper English greeting.
Oh, gift basket.
Cheerio and all that what? Wiggins, as this stalwart fellow is called, seems primarily to serve only the purposes of Ratcliffe bouncing his bad ideas off of him, and also to make Ratcliffe look slightly less fey by comparison.
When they see how I glitter.
Not an easy task.
I've never been a popular man.
I like you.
The mini sidekicks even get their own subplot. Miko the raccoon and Percy the dog more or less serve as a clumsy microcosm of the whole Native American European conflict, right down to the time the Indians stole our bowl of cherries! Those red-skinned bastards.
Easy, Percy. Come here.
Miko, come back!
You see what I mean? Once two sides want to fight, nothing can stop them.
Thank you, Admiral Themestater. So the Powhatans observe the dancing, singing Englishmen and wonder, what the hell are they doing? Clearly these strangers stage elaborate musical numbers and do what white people do best. Blow shit up. After a fight breaks out and tensions escalate, poor lifting weights get shot.
This wound is strange to me.
Oh, you simple natives, just take out the offending metal object, he'll be fine. So, as is the wont of the squaw, Pocahontas falls in love with the first white guy she sees. And after what we must assume is hours of stalking him, John Smith finally gets sick of this shit and prepares for the attack. But Pocahontas is ready. With a dramatic pose. And a stare-off has commenced. Ow!
No! Wait!
So she runs away, but uh-oh, there's a language barrier.
Let me help you out of there.
Medakwe Naturath.
I wonder how we're gonna cross this one.
Pocahontas. My name is Pocahontas.
I'd like to thank the raccoon for channeling the audience's reaction. So Pocahontas and John Smith, their new language skills acquired from magic, decide to get to know each other and discover that they are matched not only in extreme hotness, but in extraordinary dullness as well.
You have the most unusual name, too. John Smith.
But while John Smith is willing to at least talk to her, he's not what you'd call the sensitive type.
We've improved the lives of savages all over the world.
Savages?
If by helped you mean enslaved and genocided. Why is genocide not a verb? So now we get into the Academy Award-winning musical centerpiece, in which Pocahontas demonstrates how very in tune with nature she is, as well as her ability to, fly, and take bear cubs away from their mothers, and turn herself into pastel, and climb cliffs that are now thousands of feet high. Have these people ever been to coastal Virginia? Meanwhile, Ratcliffe has had a revelation of his own.
It's the gold! They have it, and they don't want us to take it from them.
That's right, the Indians have dug up every ounce of gold in the state of Virginia and hoarded it all for themselves.
Indians! Why do you think those insolent heathens attacked us?
Because we invaded their land and cut down their trees and dug up their earth.
You really gotta love this movie's brief moments of clarity. So one day, John Smith goes back to find Pocahontas, and apparently listening with the heart is contagious because Pocahontas' friend now understands him too.
I had to see you again.
So both of them go back to argue with their respective clans, neither of which feel very inclined to listen. Back at the geriatric willow tree, Pocahontas and John Smith reconvene and formulate a plan.
All right. Let's go talk to your father.
And by that, of course, I mean I'd like to poke your hontas. Of course, they pick the worst imaginable time to start making out, as both of their boyfriends are watching, and Kocoum in particular is rather perturbed. Is this rage warranted? But Christian Bale is ever at the ready, and manages to shoot Kocoum right in the... spirit?
Thomas!
He killed him!
Now the shit has hit the fan. John Smith is imprisoned by the Indians, both sides are really ticked, and it's time to kick ass and take names. And what do you do when you've assembled an angry mob and are about to go to war? Sing!
Savages, savages, drive them from our shore. They're not like you and me, which means they must be evil.
Didn't this movie win an Academy Award for its songs? Oh, puppies! Meanwhile, on the native side of things, the Indians are also singing their hearts out.
Savages, savages.
What? The Indians calling the white savages? Holy shit, Disney, you have totally inserted your magical giant cock into my ear and fucked my mind! Amidst all this singing, Pocahontas is spending her time moping, until finally she gets her plot devices, her fluorescent leaves, and her woodland friends together, so now we finally gotten to the centerpiece of the whole thing. Pocahontas saves John Smith's life. What she does basically is stops an execution. Admittedly not that dramatic a concept for the climax of a film. So...
Bring out the prisoner!
Sing, guys!
We will see them dying in the
Okay, let's add the eagle shadow. Good, what else can we do?
Eagle, help my feet to fly.
without a warning.
Mountain, help my heart be great.
Okay, wind spirit, that's good.
Don't let it be too late.
Woodland friends. Yeah, help her run, or whatever it is that you're doing. Oh, still not epic enough. Okay, bad guy, overlay over a waterfall.
For their evil race, until there's not a trace left.
No, slow motion.
Drums of war, tearing in the drumming line.
Yes! Truly now we have all of the components of an epic climax.
This is the path I choose, Father.
Mine is the path of hotness. So Pocahontas makes her case. Fortunately, Chief Powhatan is also receptive to the fluorescent leaves, and he backs down completely. Crisis averted?
Now's our chance.
No! John!
Wow, John Smith took a bullet for Chief Powhatan? Oh, right, it's Mel Gibson. He's got to be Jesus in every movie he's in. So, the battle now avoided. The natives and the settlers are apparently friends, and the 14-year-old Christian Bale takes charge.
Going back is his only chance. He'll die if he stays here.
So we're going to take him on the several months-long journey on a ship back to England. Sound advice, young leader. Truly, this colony shall flourish! Our little sidekick microcosm has even exchanged outfits. Guess that means we're friends now. Aw, and Chief Powhatan even tucks him in, right before John Smith makes out with his daughter. Damn. And we have to end it on some sort of epic note. Pocahontas manages to get one more epic cliff pose right as the movie ends. And hopefully now we are all a little less educated on our own history. And the movie leaves us with questions like, why the hell are there moose in Virginia? Where the hell did all those majestic cliffs go in the interim 500 years? Why doesn't listening with one's heart bridge language gaps anymore? Why does Pocahontas like a real nose? Was she really fathered by Lord Voldemort? Really, it's better not to think about it. The great mouse in the sky certainly doesn't want you to. Puppies! I'm your nostalgia chick. I remember it because the dudes don't.
They're not like you and me, which means they must be evil. We must stop the problems.